Hey, this is Codie Evans, back again to co-host on another episode of Whiskey
and
Real Estate. Hey, I am Lucas Burrington, owner of Burrington Real Estate, AMMT, and whatever venture we're on today. We got Codie. Codie, go ahead and give a little intro of who you are, what you do, for those that are turning in for the very first time.
Yep, Codie Evans again, owner of Manikka Maintenance and Contracting. Do pretty much any type of construction you can think of and specialize with realtors and property managers to get their properties fixed up in a jiffy or whatever they need for closings or turnover on renters.
Well, and a guy that I get to do a lot of business with but never see is with us today. So I will allow him to do his introduction and what they do and how they do it.
Yeah. Hey, guys. My name's Tim Bohr. Sorry, you have to forgive my voice a little bit today, but I own a company called Pic Your House. So we're the best listing media business out there. Best listing media business for agents out there. We do photos, videos, drone, virtual tours, floor plans, any sort of media that helps market a property. And we do a lot with it.
Well, and it's crazy that you're here with us finally. Because we've been established since 2013 or 2023 doing this podcast, and I'm year 15 into doing real estate, and as you know, the amount of volume we use you guys quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I introduce you every time I go to a listing appointment. And I introduce you every time I'm talking to our other realtors that are getting licensed without actually introducing you. One of the biggest things that we hang our hat on at Burrington Real Estate, and even when I was with Coldwell and Jeremy prior to it, was our marketing, our photos. Our photos are better than anybody else's out there. Our marketing is better than anyone out there. And our marketing comes straight from Pic Your House.
Yeah.
So without introducing you to these people, I'm introducing you to these people saying, you know what, we hire the professionals. When we go to a listing appointment, the thing is I'm like, I can have paperwork ready for you to be listed within 24 hours. I go, but I'm not listing this property until I have my professionals come in and do a shoot. Usually that's 48 to 72 hours after we register for the photo shoot itself. I go, but that 3 days, it's completely worth it. And so it's an honor for me to have you here because you've been part of my career. And one thing that has separated myself from a lot of the other folks out in the market is our marketing. And so how'd you get started with doing Pic Your House? P-I-C Your House.
Yep. Little play on words there.
Yes.
It was an accident, actually. So back in 2018, my wife Megan's dad, I don't know if you've ever done any work with him. Kevin Hunter was a residential appraiser.
Yep.
So it was my father-in-law. He passed away September of 2018. Had prostate cancer, and so we were actually in a season of life. My wife and I had done some things financially where we didn't need to work at the time, and he was towards the end of his life. And then when he passed away, a year later, her grandpa passed away, and so we were in like this 2-year window where we actually weren't working anywhere regularly, but on purpose, because you can never get those minutes back, right? Those people, when people pass away, a lot of times they regret the conversations they never had with them. We were in a position where we could control not being regretful about that. We spent a lot of time trying to help him get better. We took him to a clinic in Mexico that's not legal in the United States. I mean, we were doing anything we could to help him heal, and it didn't take place. But long story short, there was a realtor in town, Michelle Bennett, who did a benefit for Kevin out at Isaac Walton, the shooting range, and did a benefit for him July of 18. One of the things that was auctioned off there was a pool party at Al and Michelle's house. August of 19 is when whoever bought it, I don't remember who bought it, but whoever bought it finally used it. As the family that benefited from the money they spent on that, we wanted to be there to serve them drinks. And so I figured I'd bring my drone because I had cameras. We always made videos and stuff on trips, but the only reason I did that was because I I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew what I was better. I knew what I was doing better than everyone else we were on the trip with.
Right,
You know?
right.
Anyway, so I took my drone there. I figured I'd get some pictures of people in the pool. They'll think it's cool. Did that. Turned the drone around towards the back of our house and snapped a picture of it. Had no, I mean, you ever seen an old person taking a cell phone photo where they're like going like this? Like that's what I was doing with the drone. I didn't know what I was doing, and took a picture of it, sent it to her, and she said these are better than what we pay for listing photos. And I'm like, how? And her husband Al in the back, because we had been asked to do we'd been recruited for a lot of different jobs, and we're like, no, we're not working right now on purpose.
Right.
And her husband in the back, Al, goes, you should start a drone business. And I was like, I could do like 10 drone shoots in a day and not work the other 4 days. So it was like enough part-time of a baby step to where I'm like, I'd be willing to do that. It's not committed enough. I would do that. I did that for 2 months before I kind of pieced it together that nobody hires a drone guy. You hire a photographer and or a videographer, and you want them to also use drone. The guys who specialize only in drone don't really make that good of a business of it most times. It's a few shoots here and there, but it's not a real lucrative recurring business. So 2 months later, I decided to add video, and I started to realize real estate. What's interesting, it's your guys' world. If I was the best newborn photographer, your newborn is newborn one time, but you guys list houses weekly, right? And so I really, because I've always been a business guy, and I'm like, yeah, the media is cool, but if we can make the media in a way that caters to a realtor's lifestyle, their pace, their convenience, all this stuff, that's where we can win. Because most people who do photo and video stuff are creatives, and they have a disconnect with business people. I don't know if if anybody's listening to this, if you ever had a wedding video done for your wedding, 6 to 8 months till you get that sucker back, and hey, how's that coming? Oh yeah, I'm still pretty backed up. It'll be a while. And I've seen that happen where a realtor's like, hey, where's my photos? Oh, I've been really busy the last couple of days. It'll probably be a couple of days before I get them to you. I'm listing tomorrow. I can't have that, you know? And so as you know, we had 44 properties we shot on Monday. Every photo went out Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., And anyway, so basically January of 2020, I started to go, okay, if we can build a media business for real estate agents that caters to their fast-paced lifestyle, then we can do really well with this. And the repeatness of it, because again, you list houses weekly. So if we can make it what's best for you, that's 52 times better than a newborn photographer who does a newborn shoot one time. And I don't mean that disrespect to them.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of how.
There's some clients that'll give you 9, 10.
Yeah, I guess so.
8, 6.
Yeah.
What?
Kids.
Hey, really quickly too, just to put a period on your story about yourself.
Yeah.
Producer Logan here. Right. I've gotten pretty familiar with you and your business at this point, and I would say one of the things that I think is really cool is that you are so hyper dedicated, not just to the quality and not just to the service, but to that turnaround time.
Yeah.
You're really locked in on that's the thing that you feel is your number one differentiator. Like you really value how reliable that is. That is one of your main selling points. I think it's really cool that you've dialed in on that being your number one thing.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It is. It's what repeats and what hinges. In fact, 2 years ago, I read a book called Clockwork. It was a book by Mike Michalowicz, and he focuses on helping you take your business and really make it run like clockwork, right? Systems and things like that. And he talked about efficiency, and one of the most efficient systems out there is actually a beehive, like how fast they can turn things
100%.
around and whatever. And they talked about in a beehive, there's however many worker bees, but there's one queen bee. Mm-hmm. And do you guys know what the queen bee's role is? Like what it does continually? Lay new eggs.
Yep.
So that's all a queen bee does is lay egg after leg after leg, egg after egg after egg. And anyway, he talks about comparing that to a business, and he said, you got to know what your queen bee role is. Because in a beehive, if a queen bee stops producing eggs, the other bees will actually kill that queen bee.
There's dedicated bees that are actually there to kill that queen bee.
Yeah.
And if the queen bee starts having defective eggs or bees that don't work as hard, they are actually, I don't know, it's like the SEAL Team 6 of freaking bees.
Yeah.
But there's a select few bees that are designated to kill that queen. It's crazy.
And then they will get a new one immediately.
Yep.
And so it's all the worker bees are doing their thing, but as soon as the ability to lay eggs is compromised, stop what you're doing. Let's go make sure this is fixed, and then we can go back to what we're doing. So anyway, getting to what Logan was saying, our queen, because he talks about in your business, you got to know, what is your queen bee activity? Like, what is that activity that needs to keep going no matter what? And for us, it's not just photos and videos and stuff. It's that 8 a.m. delivery. I mean, Tuesday morning after those 44 shoots, I mean, at 7 a.m., I'm on my team going, how are we sitting for 8 a.m.? You know, because if like nothing else matters right now except that, and then once that's done, then I can go take care of my to-do list. You can go take care of your to-do list, because these realtors need these photos to be able to list. Because, you know, people get, I don't know if you guys do this, but like our realtors, they literally have the MLS pulled up. They got all the information in there because they know that email's dinging at 8 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
So that they can go download, upload, post, and then they can go off to do their tasks for the day.
Yep, that's pretty much how we roll. Is now that gets into kind of our bridge and our segue, which is always perfect. We always follow that up with what today's market looks like. Now you get to know exactly what the seller market looks like, because with your product, obviously, if you're getting hired a lot, that means the market's hot. They're throwing a lot of properties on the market. Also on each site that you get, so each photo we get our own site, and then you get a market if it's sold and pending and or whatever not. So give us your opinion of what you think today's market looks like. There's no wrong answer here,
I know it. And you, believe it or not, like I might not be the best person to ask. And the reason I say that is because, well, we've just always been growing since we started. We've grown every single year. We grew another 40% last year. And so in 2023, which I, from understanding, was a pretty rough year in real estate.
23, 24, yeah, 25 was 23 was rough, 24 was rougher. 25,
It was.
25 was the worst.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
yeah, because I went to a conference in November of 23, and they were giving all these statistics about how down the market was, and we had just doubled that year. And we grew by 70%, and I was disappointed that we didn't grow more. And I didn't even know it wasn't growing until, which is a benefit, right? But I don't know. We're doing a ton. We spring definitely popped in March. I don't know if you guys had an influx. I mean, it always does, but this year we felt it a lot. There's a big difference between February and March. April, same thing, was another big month. This month is bigger than that month, but I don't know. And we're also in a bunch of different markets. Obviously, we're talking in the Cedar Rapids market, but I was in the Waterloo market today at a Realtor Golf tournament. We cover all of Eastern Iowa and Des Moines. Waterloo's always been an area where inventory's been low.
Yeah.
And I was talking to realtors up there today, and they said, yeah, there's a lot of listings popping up here right now. So my limited guess vantage point is that it's turning the corner from what you're talking about, 23, 24, 25. I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing, but
yeah, we are definitely. It's a very busy market right now. I mean, it's also an unstable market, and hopefully this week stabilizes a lot of stuff, because it sounds like peace treaty's going out.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so it sounds like they just did a ceasefire last night. They did a ceasefire with Iran last night, and that is. Well, they've been in a ceasefire. They paused everything that was going on with the Strait of Hormuz that they were doing, because we were actually taking ships, escorting them in, escorting them out, and basically saying, screw you, Iran, as we were bringing them by, say, you have no power to do this. So we're allowing them to save face right now, and said, okay, we're gonna quit doing that, and because that means there's something on the table that's enough for Trump, because Trump's going one or two ways right now. He's either going to make them a parking lot over there, or there's going to be a peace treaty. And if there's a peace treaty, our market's going to go crazy. Stock markets are still at an all-time high. Broke another record yesterday.
Wow.
So stock markets have broke records for 4 straight weeks now. And it's crazy because Codie and I, at our age and your age, I mean, you always think like you missed an opportunity to get on the market. You're like, shit, it's never going to be this high ever again type stuff. And it just keeps breaking records. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. It's like Bitcoin. We had a DJ Tronics was the guy's name and he bought a couple houses and a couple fourplexes here in town in 2022-ish. And he's like, you need to get into Bitcoin. And he was using all Bitcoin money to do it because he got in really early with it. And I'm like, man, you're crazy. He's like, I go, it's at what, $28 or 28 right now, and he's like, it's gonna get to 100. I said, there's absolutely no way. It's already broke a record. It's already dropped. It's gonna. It's sitting at like 65 or 68 today. So if I would have just listened and just threw $1,000 into it, I mean, man, we would have been sitting all right. You know? I mean, so there's never a wrong time, is what I'm saying, to start investing.
Yeah.
And everything's based off leadership. And we have 4 people at this table right here. 5 actually. Logan's not at the table, but he is behind the scene right now. You've already heard from him, that have built businesses.
Yep.
Manikka's got her Chloe Custom. She stands next to me as I'm building my businesses, and she's figuring out where her piece is into that. And then
you guys split the money 90-10, I assume?
Basically.
Right down the
I
money.
wish.
Right down
You
the
see her
middle.
haircut, right?
hey, I didn't know.
Just jokes.
So tell me, how important is leadership? So right now, what's controlling our market is leadership. Our worst time was when we had the previous presidents in, and it was strictly due to leadership is the reason why inflation was high, the reason rates were soared through the roof.
No doubt.
Some of the deals that weren't made, that should have been made, that he promised to make, really tanked the market. Then we started seeing leadership change. Rates went down. Rates have gone down 2% since leadership change. It's probably going down in a whole nother percentage here in the next 3 months. But how vital in your business is your leadership? Because you don't know what the market is, because you're looking at this person. What if I call Randy? Would she be able to tell me what the market looks like right now?
I don't know. She might be able to.
That girl is on it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. She's our backbone. She's everything. How important is leadership, just like in general in my world, or like what do you mean specifically?
All together, where you put it, into the sports world, into the because we're gonna branch that way because we're all basketball, we're all coaches here. So
there's no LeBron fans, are there?
What's that?
There's no LeBron fans here, are there?
No.
If there's any LeBron fans after the playoffs where they just watch him sit in a corner,
Oh my
3
gosh.
straight possessions, not get back on D, not do anything, just literally sit there. My hope for basketball fans is lost.
Yeah, it's wild. Leadership. I mean, John Maxwell, the leadership guru, says everything rises and falls on leadership, and it just always, that statement just proves itself true in every industry, every year, every crisis, everything. And I love business, and I'm obviously everybody here has a taste of that too, because to me, what I always said, what business is it's like sports for those of us who aren't talented enough to play professional,
Right.
because you and I get to set number metrics that we want to hit, put our time towards that, try to hit that. We have competitors that are trying to do that maybe make the mark, maybe they don't. And I'm a super competitive person, probably to a fault. I met somebody the other day that I can't remember who. No, they said, oh yeah, I'm using so and so, and I'm like, this is a competitor I don't know about. Usually I know all my competitors. I know all what's going on. But what I was going to say is that this industry, yes, on your side with the realtor side of things, but even on our side, it's a high turnover, right? Like I think the stat I read with NAR was like 5 years from now, all the licensed realtors right now, 87% of them won't even renew their license 5 years from now.
Correct. Yep.
And that doesn't include the people who still have their license, but they made $13,000 last year with 2 sales or something, right? Like
we talked about that last episode, the 4%. The 4% of realtors actually sell the market.
Yeah, it's total. It's the 20/80 rule, and it goes more than that. And yeah, all that to say, I call real estate a win-lose industry, meaning, you got a comfortable job. I'm a chemical engineer making $70,000 a year. As long as I show up on time, do the tasks, go home on time, you keep paying me the $70,000. Well, real estate's not like that, right? You could kill it, or you could be starving. It's a win-lose thing. And any industry that's win-lose has a high percentage failure rate. And so to be able to make it, and a lot of times people criticize the top this percent or whatever they're talking about, but only 2% of high school athletes make it to college athletics. Only 2% of college athletes make it to pros. It's not
I think that went down actually too.
Yeah, it's probably less than 2%.
2% was like the round number. I think it's just over 1% now, actually.
And obviously you could take that into real estate. Like if we took all the revenue made in real estate in Cedar Rapids and we this small percent, like you said, maybe 4% make 80-90% of the revenue or whatever. And so anytime there's something like that, you have to do certain things to separate yourself, which again, like is leadership, let alone when you start adding in teams. Because if you're a solo realtor or a solo photographer, you got to be able to have some leadership to be able to communicate well and that type of thing. But then as you start adding a photographer or you add a realtor and you start building a team, I mean, the other thing about our industry is it's volunteer, right? Like your realtors, I mean, there's probably expectations you have of them, but at the end of the day, they're independent contractors. They can do what they want and not do what they want. So like to be able to lead them in a way where they can be successful as well as you, it's literally everything. And, crossing that over to sports, I mean, I don't know if we're ready to go that route, but that's just, yeah. I grew up watching MJ, man. And
the
A
dog.
table full of it.
Yeah. I'm a Kobe guy, and obviously
closest thing to MJ.
Yeah, and we don't have Kobe without MJ.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, there's the argument that goes back and forth, but every leader has that instinct in them, whether it's a killer instinct or whether it's the instinct to lead. And it's crazy because our daughter, we talk about it because two of our daughters are very into basketball. And very good. Both of them are very solid.
Nice.
Two different age groups. You got one that leads by example and does not want to lead with a voice. She's going to be your leading scorer every game. You pretty much know when she touches the court, she's going to get you, 8 steals. She's going to get you probably 20 points, and she's going to have a meltdown in the middle of it. And that's
multiple.
Yeah. But she also is not going to give up. Like she's going to be sprinting every ball. She's there. And then you got Camille, the older of the two, where she leads by direction. So she's one of those that'll point him in the right direction. She's a future coach. Gotcha. There's no doubt about it. She enjoys leading and putting people in the right places and having that empathy a little bit behind it. But at the end of the day, it's still two different types of leaderships. And we have a leadership class that I had with this high school class that we had every Wednesday. In the we went through like the 3 types of different leaderships. You got your silent leaders, you got your rah-rah leaders, and then you got your wannabe leaders. Mm-hmm. The ones that won't they want to be that person, but don't want to put in the work and lead by example.
Yeah.
Then you got your rah-rah leaders that really, are your future coaches. They might not be your best athlete, but they know the game. They're going to cheer everyone on. They're going to get everyone going in the right direction, bring a positive attitude. And your silent leaders which that would be Chloe, where she don't doubt her because she's going to go out and get it regardless.
Yeah.
Whether you're with me or not, I'm going. And so that's been the biggest challenge because with Chloe, we had to have that conversation that it's okay. It's okay that you're not a vocal leader. It's okay that you don't want to take that leadership role even and put people and have the conversation and put them more than that's okay. I need to know what to expect from you.
Yeah.
Now that I know that, I know Jazz and Cora and my other girls, those are my rah-rahs. Those are the ones they'll be the voice leaders, and they're also going to lead by example as well. So Chloe, go ahead, lead by example. Just don't give up. Don't give them a reason to doubt you over there because being a silent leader's tough. Yeah. Because the minute you're off your game, that trust is lost too. Codie comes from military. So Codie, I'll let you get into the type of leaderships because that's all you've lived and breathed for. You tell us.
I mean, that's literally my mantra. I got into marketing at a young age, and I was fortunate enough that I took to it very well. So by the time I had turned 20, I'd already been to 7 different conferences in 7 different states, paid for by my old CEO, on how to be a good leader, how to develop, grow, and discipline. Your well, I call them my troops now, but back before the Army days, it was your employees and your managers, and then you take that to the military, and it's just so night and day different. In the military, you don't have a choice. I mean, even in today's military, which is 10 times softer than it was even. So I was in 13 years, and in those last 10 years, I watched the military completely evolve. And I'm not just saying that to be okay boomer. I physically watched it evolve. Going through basic training and OSA or AIT, whatever you want to call it, compared to what it is now, because I ended my career as a drill sergeant, so I got to see the full spectrum.
Oh yeah,
boot to leader. what the military allows you to and not do changes. So in your industry, in my industry, we all have different types of leadership based on what's necessary for that environment. Manikka leads the office at the property management company. There's days that I promise you she doesn't want to be that leader because what she wants to do just to get it done isn't going to effectively get people to follow.
Yeah.
In the construction industry, she'd be a great leader. Come in here, yell, do, and they would just have to do it. You know what I mean? Army, great leader. But office environment, marketing environment, I'm assuming most of your work, besides when you snap photos, is in the office getting stuff. You can't necessarily be as harsh. So it's not only knowing, like you talk about the 3 types of leaders, it's not only knowing what kind of leader you need to be, but who you're leading, what industry, what type of environment. Because that was one of the biggest things that I heard across all these different conferences that I went to and everything I've just experienced in life is the first thing you need to know about leadership is who are you leading? Because at the end of the day, if they don't do the job, it's not because they were bad followers, it's because you were a bad leader.
Yeah.
And that's reality.
What did they say? They said there's no such thing as bad teams, there's only bad leaders.
100%.
And it's so true.
Right.
I don't remember where I heard that at, if it's a new leadership guru author or who it is, but I don't think it was Jocko and Leif, the military guys that put out the leaderships. I don't think it was them.
And just a caveat to that too, just so, because there's somebody listening being like, yo, yeah, right, I had an employee and they were just horrible. Yes, so don't employ them.
Yes. You're a bad leader by leaving them on staff.
At the end of the day, your team is your team, and you need to make a decision, usually within the first 2 weeks of hiring somebody, if they are going to be a valuable member to your team.
Yeah.
If you allow them to stay beyond 6 weeks, and then you just want to push blame to them for not, no, that's exactly what you're talking about. It's a bad leader. But, you do have a time period, and no matter what anybody says, there's never, I don't care who it is or how good of a track record they have, there's never anybody that's perfect or really good about hiring people. Anybody can go sit down, put on a fake resume, put on a fake act, and sell their way into a job. Mm-hmm. I could literally go, I promise you, and him as well, because we're both kind of chameleons. We can adapt and get along with anybody. One of us could easily go get a job in a job. I can't even think right now. A job in an environment that we know nothing about.
Yeah,
industry.
absolutely.
I couldn't think of the word industry. Thank you. But yeah, in an industry that we know nothing about, we could go get a high-paying job there just based off the interview. But then by week 2, if they have good leadership, we're going to be on our ass fired.
Yeah.
Or we're going to learn. One of the two.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But going into that, so you're good leaders, you're bad leaders, and so on and so forth. But who's to tell? I mean, what is that measuring tape to tell? I mean, you've seen. I mean, let's talk when the Lakers. I mean, when the Lakers had the year they had Kobe, Shaq, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Meta World Peace.
Yep.
Man.
Before we go too far into sports, you said the Lakers, so that has LeBron, right? So let's talk about traveling. What do we got today? Because LeBron likes to travel, so let's.
So we're finding a familiar trend here in the Midwest.
That's good.
So Travelers is the whiskey we have right now. It's also similar to a couple of the other ones we have, is part of that Buffalo Trace. Mm-hmm. So Buffalo Trace is one of the makers of that. It's a mixed batch. It's very good. I'm a huge fan of it.
Yes.
It's my first time ever having Travelers, but it's from that Buffalo Trace, that Kentucky area. So,
are you sure you're a huge fan of it?
I like it.
Oh, it's delicious. Mm-hmm. Salute the Travelers.
Yes, and it's completely different from the last couple whiskeys we've had, because the last ones we had were true bourbon single batches. Put hair on your chest.
Yeah. This is it's almost like a drink in itself. It's like a mixed drink without the mix. Mm-hmm. It's very, very smooth.
Logan, I don't know if your podcast awards has like best segue award, but that
Travelers,
that better be one in there, man. That was good.
We should consider that. Yeah, put it on the list.
Yes.
I mean,
best segue.
Are you doing a podcast award?
I can't talk about that right now.
You say that every time.
Because I'm just not enough hours in the day, you know?
There's not.
Yes, we're doing it. It'll happen for sure. But I don't know.
On tone time.
Am I organized? No, absolutely.
Yeah, you're on the committee. You already volunteered. Yeah. So
Yeah.
It'll happen then.
So going into that, and that brings a great way of segue on the leadership side of it too. Is part of the things that we have as difficulties is we're small businesses.
Yes.
We were the owner operators at one time. All of us in this room were owner operators.
Yep.
Got into the position where we had to expand our fields.
Yep.
How do we manage that time? I mean, where do we as leaders have to remove ourselves and hire another person? I haven't figured that out in 15 years. I am still number one sales guy for our real estate team. I am still hiring and training other realtors. I should have someone that's training these people, or I haven't found the ability to trust. And that screws with my time management, is because now I feel I need to be in a part of everything.
Everything.
Well, and it's because we've had great success, everything we've done. And
Yeah.
I know one way, and it's really hard for me to say, okay, I see this person fail. I see this person fail. I see this other realtor fail. It's like I almost need to see if they'll make it 2 years before I truly trust them as a realtor.
It is the topic, and I don't care what anybody says. It is the topic for any small to medium-sized businesses when you go from owner-operator or how you started to scaling. And scaling is the hardest part for any company in my industry, because most of my industry is that one dude with a truck. I mean, you look at any glory story for lawn care services or snow removal, it was literally a dude with a truck, and he saved up all his money to buy some beat up 90s Chevy or Ford and made it work to get where he needed. Saved up enough money. Now he's got a beat up marketplace trailer that he bought. Now he can do that. And I've seen, so many of these, and then I started to live it. And when Lucas and I got together and thought about how, because I kept going to Lucas, hey, I'm done with corporate America. I'm ready to get going. Help me. And he did. He took me under his wing. He showed me some stuff, brought me into AMMT, which got me into a network of different things and allowed me a chance to start on that stuff. And then we scaled it. And I think that's where him and I grew a business respect for each other, because he taught me a new industry and I showed him how quickly I can scale it. And that is the tough part. And like my company right now, I'll tell you, the hardest part is finding leadership so that I don't have to be the leader anymore.
Yeah.
So I've scaled to where,
I'll go yell at him.
I might take you up on that for some of the situations.
So where do you differentiate? You're trying to find leadership within your business. I mean, how does that differentiate from trying to hire someone that has ownership mentality?
Ownership mentality will never, I mean, you can see hints of it in interviews and in the hiring process, but ownership mentality only shows itself in the first 4 to 6 weeks of employment. And you either put that fire out in the first 4 to 6 weeks, you let that fire get out of control in the first 4 to 6 weeks, or you actually harness that fire and turn it into what you're trying to create. So, for example, with AMMT, when you brought me on there, everything that I was doing, I was thinking of you, because I was thinking, if I'm the owner of the company, how would I want it? And I didn't mean I was thinking of you as in I want to make Lucas happy. It was, I am Lucas. How do I make this successful?
Well, and I will say, from being a longtime client of yours since basically the very beginning, I think that's one thing that I never know if I'm talking to you or if I'm talking to Randy.
And that's the way I want it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yep. And so hats off to you. How do you think you found that person?
So two things I wanted to say. One, you're talking about your daughters and the two different leadership qualities, right? And I think I'm trying to think how to say this. The first, I want to be a leader. What's the first thing I need to do? The first thing, you have to be an example, right? Like, because if you're not an example, well, if you get good communication skills, but if you're not the example, like everything falls if you don't have that, right? So like, you got really good at what you did before you ever brought somebody on. You got really good at what you did before you brought somebody on. So that has to be point number one, right? But then the other thing too, I remember hearing this quote that said, leadership is taken, not given. And most times, like anytime you give somebody leadership, like they may or may not be ready for it, they may or may not be the right fit for it. I mean, I know things that I've done in the past where I've no one asked me. I just kind of like what you were saying, like, okay, I'm thinking like I'm Lucas. What would I need to do? Like, you took that leadership, right? He didn't sit down and, hey, if you think like me, this will be what's best for this company and blah, blah, and maybe you can grow in it. Like, he didn't say that. You just took that upon yourself. And so I'll tell the story of Randy, who is, I don't know, her title is Randy because she does amazing things for us, but the technical title is operations manager, right? So at the time, she was one of probably 8 or 10 photographers we had.
And how many do you have now?
13, I think.
Okay.
And she was one of 8, let's just say 8 photographers, right? Truthfully, she was one of the more part-time ones we had. And because she still had some graphic design stuff she was doing on the side, whatever. And but she was, from the photographer standpoint, she was the best photo taker we had. She's better than I am. Like, and I'm not that good per se, but she's really good, right? And I was at a point. This is how she came up. I was at a point where in 2022 we quadrupled, and somehow I hired 4 people and trained them in addition to doing all the other stuff I was doing. And so we quadrupled in 2022, and in the summer of 23, we were on track to double, which I was actually disappointed by, because once you taste, you're like, well, that's the new norm, right? I got to get back to that. A lot easier to quadruple when you're this big than it is when you're this big.
Right.
And anyway, summer of 23, I was still stretched thin, and I'm like, if we double again next year, where's my breaking point? Where's the things that are going to break? And I was like, well, we're going to need this many more photographers. Who's going to train them? I don't have time to train them. So I was trying to think of I need to hire someone to train our photographers so that I can offload that and stay focused on more important things. And at the time, her brother was being hired as a photographer for us, and this other guy, Noah, was being hired for us. And I'm like, I don't have time to train one of them, let alone both of them. So I called Randy and said, hey, would you be willing to train your brother, and I'll train Noah? 1, he's your brother, and 2, you know what to do. Like, how do I train? Well, just show him how to do what you do because you do it well. And she's like, did I tell you I was a trainer at Starbucks for 10 years? I'm like, no, you neglected to tell me that. That would have been nice to know. What is it, Wedding Singer, where Adam Sandler's like, that's something that should have been brought to my attention yesterday. But so I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And then I'm like, so basically I decided to, in addition to her being a photographer, I'm like, I'm going to pay you to train our new photographers. We don't need them that often, so we figured out some sort of a flat rate. New photographer, you train them, I pay you this much, and then you're back to shooting. Anyway, I was doing a meeting with my 2 admin staff. One, had a meeting scheduled, kind of an all-day mastermind to look at what's broken, what can we fix. And she's like, hey, can I come to that meeting? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe, we'll see, whatever. And I said, I think you got a big shoot that day. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I'd really like to come if I could. And I'm like, oh, okay, we'll see. 2 days later, she's like, hey, could I come to, and it was the next day. She's like, hey, so I don't know, could I come to that meeting tomorrow? And I was like, I think I checked. I think you got that big shoot in Dysart tomorrow. And she goes, I actually moved it to the next day. And I'm like, gotcha. You really want in this? Like, and that right there, like, you can't train that. Like, people have that or they don't. They have that desire and that leadership or whatever, they don't. And I'm like, wow.
Action, not talk.
Yeah.
She showed you with action. She already moved the meeting. She followed up the day before. And it wasn't just talking, I want this. Because we deal with a lot of that with our sports. We'll just leave it at vague.
Yeah.
In our sports world, we deal with a lot of talk. I want this, I want this, I want this. But the actions don't support that.
Yeah. And she says this, and I'm like, wow, all right, you're coming to this meeting, right? Well, then she stays up till 1:30 the night before, goes through our website, our shopping cart, and comes to me with 2 pages, a page front and back of, this is my idea on this. I think it'd be better if we did it this way. And she did it in a respectful way, right? Because you could come across disrespectful as like, hey, you who created this, here's how we can fix what you did wrong. She didn't come that way. She just like, I thought about some things here. So she didn't take no for an answer.
We all
Sorry,
have.
Manikka just saw Lucas and I probably in queue look at her.
Manikka does the same stuff to me, except it tells you your business sucks and this is how you need to change it.
Well, a spouse has a different, yeah.
But she doesn't want to be a spouse at work. She wants to be an employee.
She does it to the employees too. Not as often as she does to Lucas, but
oh my God. So continue on because
So long story short, in 6 months, she goes from part-time photographer and I'm going to pay you to train our photographers when we have them, which at that time is maybe 1 or 2 a year, right? And then to like 6 months later, she's doing everything, but she took that. She desire, so that's where leadership is taken, not given. And I also, I've got people in my, people who do what I do around the country that I try to stay, who are at a similar revenue level, because I want to learn from them. They want to learn from me. And the other day, someone was talking about, I need to hire an operations manager. Like, I got an application out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you can try, man. But I said, first of all, this is our story of how ours came about. And I said, not that that's the blueprint, but I said, here's the thing is that they were within our company and showed leadership. Like, there's nobody who's like, I don't think Randy should be in that position. I should be in that. Like, everybody knows she earned what she got, right? She started at the bottom, if you will, and did that. And if you hire someone from the outside to now come in and manage all these people, especially in a win-lose industry, where the other thing about win-lose industries is the people who do become successful, we're very opinionated and very protective of anybody who tries to tell us how to do what we do, because we know we're in a high percentage failure rate business.
And we've probably already failed a few times to get where we are.
And if you haven't done it, you don't know. I don't care what book you read. I don't care what, it does not matter. I remember this quote I read. It said, to know and not do is to not know.
Right.
Like, knowledge does not equate to success necessarily. It's applying that knowledge in the right way to get the result. The results is what shows, hey, I know how to become successful.
That's the biggest dysfunction in the military too. So for those that don't know the military, there's enlisted and there's commissioned. Those are the types of leaders. So you got your sergeant, staff sergeant, all your enlisted leaders, and then you have your guys that went and got college degrees, so they get to be the commissioned leaders. But they didn't actually go to boot camp. Some of them did. And these are blanket statements, so pardon the ones that slip through the cracks. But they get to be in charge of everyone.
The positional leader, right?
100%. And they make the rules. They lay out the law, and their whole goal is to, because it's such a big organization, their whole goal is to try to impress somebody up here, so that they can move up. And they haven't done, like you're talking about. They haven't actually fought. They haven't even gone through the trainings. They haven't gone through the day-to-day grind. I mean, there was a point where my leader literally told me to pick up 50 pebbles that were sitting on the sidewalk and move them over to here just to put them back one at a time. It wasn't because they needed the rocks moved. It was because they wanted to teach the leadership, structure, discipline, all of that stuff. So these commission leaders, they haven't done. They may know what they're reading a book. They may put out the law, but they haven't done it. So therefore, they're not effective in that area.
It can work in the military because you are required to do what your superior says, right?
To a fault.
But in a bit, your employee is not required. Like they can say, I'm not willing to do that. I'm out.
But talk about swallowing your pride, though. Like you had to do with Randy when she brought you that list. I mean, that's the thing as business owners that we, like you said, we've been there, we've done it, successfully. We've been there. How are you to tell me what works, doesn't work, and so on and so forth when you're coming right at it like a raging bull? Like, I think a good leader is always, and we talk about it on this all the time, is always pivoting as well. Where you got to be able to pivot to this market, you got to pivot to this market, you got to pivot to this. Especially because each employee is going to be different as well. If you don't, like Codie mentioned, if you don't know who you're leading and what you're leading, then why are you leading?
Right.
And I think that's like one of the big disconnect that a lot of people have with me is like, why are you putting time into this, or why are you putting time into this? Because I know what success in that position looks like is why I'm putting time into it. And I have to see and learn that person or position to understand if that person has it.
Yeah.
Because if Chloe and I butted heads, just like Camille and I butted heads because I wanted Chloe to be that verbal leader. She's not that person. Not yet.
Yeah.
But she's also a very good, she's a good leader in her sense. Like, if I wanted my fifth grader to act like a different fifth grader when they're on the court and have the same killer instinct, I want them to look like Chloe. If I wanted that fifth grader to have verbal leadership skills, she needs to look at someone else.
Yeah.
You got the Kobe mentality and the Michael mentality. 90% of the people that ran into Kobe and Michael thought they were the biggest assholes in the world. But the reason they were assholes is because they didn't trust you.
Yes.
if you're coming late to practice, if you're leaving early from practice, if you're not getting the number of shots that you're coming up, how am I, who's first here,
Right.
last out, going to be working until midnight, already put my shots up, already sold 1,000 houses by the time you've sold 5? How am I supposed to put trust that you're going to perform at the same rate I am, or when there's 5 seconds left in the clock? Why am I going to give the ball to that guy if he's left practice early?
Yeah.
He's not showing leadership skills. Kobe and Michael just had big time trust issues because they had an expectation of what you should be and how you should lead.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson was a fantastic basketball player, awful coach. And the reason he was
Facts.
an awful coach is because he thought they should live up to the standard as him. Why didn't I dribbled my basketball to school from 8th grade all the way to the junior year until I could afford to get a car or get transportation. I dribbled it everywhere. 98% of the people ain't going to do that.
Yeah.
But that 98% of the people that want to be leaders, you know, there's a handful of that want to be leaders but don't want to put the work in too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's such a, especially as a coach,
Yes.
it's a fine line to walk, and especially when you're a dad or a mother, it's a fine line to walk too, because I mean, we have expectations of what these kids should be.
Yeah.
And will they ever be? Probably not, because we have high expectations for our kids. I mean, we want them to be part of that 2% you guys were talking about. Just like every realtor I bring on, I want them to be part of that 2% or 4%. I want them to be part of that. And you know, let's get into, you get what you pay for as well. So we get in, what we put into our employees is what we get out of it.
Yeah.
What I put into real estate money-wise from the marketing standpoint is what I get out of it as well.
Amen.
In the people that fail in the business, and especially you can see it in your industry, Codie, the guys that are always the cheapest is not always the best. Never the best, usually. I mean, I mean, it's a very small percentage where you're going to find them that they're the best.
I've never in my life seen the cheapest person be the best quality.
And so, like in the market we're in right now, where you got $4 gas, I'm trying to.
It's $4.50.
Well, it's $4.25 today. I mean,
Hallelujah.
but I have to paint the picture to these people of why to spend the money on photos. Especially a new agent that does not have the commissions rolling in. And I'm like, it is worth every dollar. Do not go take that picture with your iPhone. Yes, your iPhones do some cool shit, but it is not.
Right.
It is not the professional in the room. I mean, I use it as, and would you use this comparison as of someone wanting to sell their house to list it on for sale by owner versus a realtor wanting to take an iPhone picture instead of hiring it out? Because you are my MLS.
Right.
I won't list a house without you.
Yeah.
Like, and that's exactly what I tell people. I'm not listing this house without my pictures. So I would expect 90% of my clients not to list their house without a realtor. So you get what you pay for.
You do.
And that's a tough thing in business that we have to learn too, is that sometimes you got to lose some to make some.
Yeah. What I think I've always explained the media side of things, and it's not just that, but like when you play pool or billiards, you know, like I remember being 12, being at this lake house. My mom was dating this guy. It was like the only nice house I'd been in because we grew up poor, and I remember they had a pool table, and I remember the first time I lined up a ball and hit it, and it went in the hole. I was hoping, you know, you celebrate, right? Like, dude, I finally did it. Well, you'll never win a pool tournament being excited about knocking one ball in, right? The people who win pool tournaments know how to knock that ball in a way to line up shot 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And so I think there's always this healthy, like, to have the right mindset and emotions with anything, you have to know when to zoom out and when to zoom in. And a lot of times people will do a listing where they look at the price point of the listing and they're like, well, okay, the commission's only going to be this. I don't know if it deserves professional photos because the budget's less, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're zoomed into that listing. And I think that's incorrect. I think you should zoom out and go, because I've heard story after story of people who did those nice media on a house where some people wouldn't, that somebody else saw those photos and said, if that realtor used that good of photos on that listing, I'm willing to trust him with my $500,000 house. And that's that pool analogy, right? Like shot one wasn't worth much, but shot two came from shot
I love
one.
how the cameraman uses zoom in and zoom out as his analogy.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Camera
But you
one,
have to
camera
do
two.
both, because you do have to zoom in and go, all right, I got to make sure that we're being profitable as a individual transaction, but you also can't just do that. Like you have to also zoom out and go, okay, this one may not bring as much money home as this other one will, but doing this one. And the other thing I heard too is, and this is because I heard there's Jay Whitaker at all in town. Great dude. I mean, like old retired cop. I love hearing him talk. Now he's the president, right? Or was it this year or last year?
Last year
he was president. I was like, that couldn't have been a better person. But I remember him telling me of a story of that where he took professional photos on we're talking less than $50,000 house. Like it was a interesting.
Where's that at? I need to buy it.
It's sold. But he talked about the client that came from it. And then here's the thing he said that I was like, ooh, I'm adding that to that file in my brain. He goes, yeah, you might say a $50,000 house is different value than a $500,000 house. And of course it is financially, right? But the value of the person selling that house and trusting me to sell it for him has the same innate value as the person selling the bigger house.
Correct.
And so based on that, I am servicing that client, not necessarily that house.
Absolutely.
I am going to do right by them. And obviously it comes around, right? You reap what you sow. Like you do good things like that, it comes back. And
always
those stories come out of the woodwork for people who do it right. But when you zoom in only on that and then you make a wrong decision, maybe not on that individual house, but on the process as a whole, then you reap what you sow there too.
So Jay was the one that cornered us at Hy-Vee, that was kind of like dressed as a cop, that was talking about the whiskey and real estate and says, I was a realtor, blah, 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 blah. And
Pinnacle guy?
Just talk. Yeah.
You need to have him on here if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I should replay and replay because we couldn't even get out of the store because we were talking forever.
Yeah, he talks. He's a talker.
Yeah, we can't go anywhere.
Couldn't be him.
Couldn't be him.
So let's hand this over to Manikka
Shocker.
on this because Manikka orders all of our photos for the real estate company. Well, a majority of the photos. She also does all of our flyers, marketing, and so on and so forth. Could you imagine having? So when I first started real estate, we had to go take our own photos. We had to then try to figure out how to create our own flyers. We didn't have photo companies. We were in Sac City, Iowa, selling real estate.
Oh, wow. Western Iowa.
Yeah. And I'm from Western Iowa, so Northwest Iowa, so Primgar, Spencer area. So
everything over here that's titled Cedar over there is Sioux.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Sioux Rapids, Sioux River, Sioux Falls.
Yep, absolutely. So
The word flyer cracked me up, by the way, because of our group text when you text me and him about the tryouts.
Yeah.
You're like, sounds like you guys got more to figure out. Bye. Let me know when you want to make the flyer. Bye.
who says bye in text? Anyways, so
I was hoping to get you to stop texting. It did.
So here's your critique moment, honey, or any questions you got to ask or anything you got based off the real estate, because you get to see the behind the scenes. You get to work with them directly. What's your experience?
I get to work with who directly?
Pick Your House.
Oh, I enjoyed that. I thought you were talking about your people.
I already know that answer. Man, talking about just trying
not
to lead
even
you in the
hiding
right
it.
direction. Yeah, I know what path not to go down. I should have been more clear. Do you enjoy working with Tim's company?
I do. I really do enjoy
The whole
it.
demeanor
It's like
changed and everything.
I get a call. Like if I have issues or problems, I just call the number and they answer right away, and it gets resolved like that. So
That's Manika's
enjoy it.
dream.
It is. And
it is.
And they're always
It's like-
available.
They are. It's like having someone that you can just like, if you can't figure out something and you need a little help, I can call this person. They're going to go through it with me, help me out, and then boom. Versus me having to track you down, stalk you, call you, and then call you again, and then you don't answer my call. Then I'm going to get frustrated, and you're going to get a whole different type of person. So it's like,
Well, Manika's time window is like 20 minutes. Like if
she's on something, it's like I got maybe 7 minutes to devote to this, and then I have 9
I
million
do,
other things
and but
I gotta do.
because he gets these listings and it works perfect because the way that they do their pictures and the way that they do their stuff, I don't have to take a lot of time out of my day
Right.
to move things around because when they do their they have pre flyers. And they put good pictures in there, so I don't have to go and pull a picture from this room or that. It's like they try to put a picture from each room, each angle onto it. So I just go to see which one I like the most, and then I just edit it and put whatever information he needs for open houses. And then
I've been working.
It
on
works
it for
perfect. Like
property management side too.
I used to get annoyed on trying to make a reel.
Yeah.
Until I one time was just scrolling on there and they make reels. I was like, okay, my life just got even more
Because if
easier.
he did that for all your properties that were up for rent or all
Yeah.
that, you know what I
It
mean?
would
Then
make
you wouldn't
it
have to worry about
so
all
much
that.
more easier. And I think that's what we were talking about in our last meeting, that you were trying to go
Put a rental
get
package
photos
together.
for
Yes.
a rental package. But
Keep on me about that.
I
Not
will.
that you won't. I won't have to remind you to do that.
Yeah.
Sounds like you just tell
I've been
Been on
Randy.
it for 2 years.
I'll put it on the board.
Well, and so let's talk about the 44 photo shoots you had on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those did you have to shoot, and how much touching did you have to do in those 44?
I shot one in Des Moines because it was our new premium video, which I know I showed you in the.
Yep,
in the
I'm going to
office
get into
last
that
night.
too. Yeah, so that's the next segue on that. So
Yeah. So right now I'm the only person. I got one other guy in Cedar Falls that can do them, but I still want to train a little bit more. So basically, since the first of the year, I've just been crisscrossing the state doing these premium videos. I did 5 in Burlington on one day, 2 in Des Moines, Quad Cities. I'm all over the place. So I did one, and it was because it was a premium video, but it was also somebody who reached out Sunday night, said they were unhappy with their current photographer, and it was their personal house, and they're a broker too. They're a broker, the lead broker of over 200 agents in the state, and so it just made sense for me to be there. Not just it wasn't important for me to be the one to snap the photos. It was
a
important for me
networking
to
opportunity.
networking.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah, we talk about it on this all the time about how networking.
Yeah.
So the other
drives this.
43 were not me. Yeah.
But how much did you have to touch the 43 videos or photos or?
Not much of anything.
That's kudos to you then.
Yeah.
That's kudos to you. So I mean, that's,
And my team. I mean,
he has a
that's-
good team.
yeah.
Well,
That is good leadership.
Yep. And there's so much, like, one of the most impressive things that I can say from your standpoint. Like I said, I've been one of the top realtors in the state of Iowa for years, and I don't even look for other photographers. Like, I don't know if I've ever priced another photographer, to be honest with you, and I don't think I couldn't give you a bigger compliment than that, because that's something I'm always doing, is pricing and trying to change what I do. The one area I've always, and I tell all of our agents is, we're not messing with, is Pick Your House. Like, this is where it will be. This is how it will be. So, I mean, I can't give that kudos to a lot of people, but especially for someone that I've been in business as long as we've been in business and used each other for. So, I mean, I can't, you have been fully responsible in part of my career. So I thank you guys for that. And that was the reason I wanted to mostly get you on here to this, is because our times are ever changing, and I feel the comfort that you're ahead of that game.
Yeah.
I talked to Logan about this, and I've talked to Jake, my marketing guy, about it. Is I suck at this area. I need you guys to put A and B together on the marketing side. I need you to be ahead of this game. I need you, because we have to, in real estate, you have to stay relevant. And what Codie does, he has to stay relevant, because there's so many failures in this. There's Jack and Jill businesses always popping up as I'm a handyman, or I'm a contractor, I'm a roofer, I'm a cement guy, and they're not there 2 years from now.
Right.
Like you said, this whole 87% of the realtors are going to turn over in the next 5 years. I have to remind my people all the time that I'm still a dog in this market. I'm still your go-to realtor in this market. But the reason I am that go-to in this market is because I stay ahead of the times. I'm still doing what year one agents are doing from a marketing standpoint, and I'm above that, but still putting in the work on that end of it, because I'm so afraid of becoming irrelevant in the real estate world.
Yeah.
And that's where systems and stuff come into place, because you still follow your same systems. You adapt, obviously, and mold them as needed with the times. But I hear you all the time talking about, here's the systems we're going to follow. If you want to be successful, follow these. And you follow them yourself, which goes back to leadership, leading by example, practicing what you preach. There's many different sayings for it, but that's huge.
Well, and so let's get into that because our world's changing every day.
Fast.
And I can be replaced by AI all day, up until it comes times to fixing a problem or being able to navigate on a dirty title or something like that.
Yep.
My experience is what puts me ahead of the game right now, and the team that I bring with me, with you being part of that team. And Codie being part of that team as well. Like if I get an inspection report, I know I can lean on Codie. Or if I get someone buying a house, I can lean on Codie and be like, yo, go price this bathroom for me. Just like I just shot you the other day.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we got this person buying this house, wants to price a bathroom. How do we make this work? And me having those legs are great. But AI's taking over, man. So how is AI going to benefit your field, which is going to benefit our field?
Yep.
And also, what's your biggest fear over the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh man. AI, I mean, there's certain parts of AI like construction and real estate, like those are related, but they're separate, right? Like there's certain things AI from like operations and data and like that are not industry specific, right? You know, like whether it's lead generation or whatever, like and it's that's changing for all of us, and most of those things are pretty good, right?
AI assistants,
Yeah.
ChatGTP, where it's just like, FAQ and
Yep.
knowledge based. Those
Yeah.
AIs are very helpful.
Yeah, we're working on getting that on our website. So when someone messages us at 8:00 at night, if ChatGPT can see that question, run it through its filter, and go, "Oh, you're looking for this answer," and it populates, that allows me not to have Jenna up at 8:00 texting that back.
Remind me to talk to you about that afterwards.
Oh, all right. Because we do need to respond. We want you to be acknowledged ASAP. But I don't want someone to have to take time away from their kids at night to do that per se. So AI can help with that. AI is already doing stuff with photo editing. But that's the thing is, and this is what I was going to say is, when you were describing us as your partner and stuff like that, like I remember watching that episode you did with Logan, and you talking about your guys' numbers. And truthfully, I'm like, I didn't know they did that much. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. And you talking about your and Jeremy's numbers when you guys were at Caldwell and stuff. But what I was going to say is, like Vince Lombardi was a great football coach, right? And he would bring things down. Well, and first of all, he took a Packers team that was like 1-9 the year before. And then, they won the first 2 Super Bowls and they won some championships before they had merged and all that stuff. But the 2 things I remember him saying all the time is he'd hold up a football and say, "This is a football," meaning let's bring it, let's remember what we're doing here.
Right.
And then he would focus on blocking and tackling, but it's like, every football team blocks and tackles, but we are going to do it flawlessly. When you haven't played for a month, we are going to get back into it. You're going to think you need to do something new. We just need to do the basics better than anybody else repeatedly. And so that's that thing. Something that happens in business failure all the time is silver bullet reaching for. And reason I say that is because I think any business, whether it's yours or ours, you have to be good at going, what is the blocking and tackling that we need to do over and over and over again?
Amen.
And then also, you need to be looking for the new trends. You need to be looking what can AI do now, but not in a, ooh, if I grab that, that's going to be my savior.
Right.
It won't be. The book, I don't know if you guys have heard of the book, Good to Great. It's one of my favorite books ever because the dude studied 1,000 companies, used a metric, shareholder price, took it down to the top 100, and then took the top 11 companies out of that and studied them for 20 years. He had 20 interviewers. Basically, he was like, there's got to be a formula that you 11 have figured out, whether you know it or not, that we can replicate. And he ended up with a 6-step plan that every one of these companies did. And it was crazy because most of these companies you'd never heard of before, or you've never heard of, I don't know, you go down that path. But anyway, my point is, he came up with these 6 steps that all of them did. The first step, oddly enough, talking to leadership, was a level 5 leader. And you have to read the book to know what he's talking about. But it's basically a leader who's extremely driven, but extremely humble.
Yep.
Like gives all the credit to their team, gives all the credit. They even give credit to luck, I just got lucky, but behind the scenes, they're as hardworking as it gets. But anyway, the reason I say that is because these 6 steps that he talks about in there, they're a sequence, meaning you can't do step 4 without having 1, 2, 3 first.
Yep.
But the 6th step is called technology accelerators. And basically what he talked about is he said every one of these 11 companies had some sort of a technology that, like, when they were growing, sent them going, but it wasn't the technology that accelerated it because their competitors used the technology too.
Right.
The technology accelerated what was already there. So if you're not already good at blocking and tackling and you grab for something that can accelerate things, you're just going to
nothing.
Yeah,
It's like multiplying by zero.
yeah, exactly. And so the reason I say all that is because, like you know, there's other companies that can do photos as good as us. There's other companies, our videos are good. There's other companies who maybe are better at video, but they are not better at the blocking and tackling of you order today, we shoot tomorrow, we deliver the next morning like clockwork, no, period, case closed. And that premium video I was talking about that we added, like I've spent a year and a half working on this because I'm like, we have to be able to add this into our system in a way that does not damage our current bread and butter. And that has taken a long time for me to figure out how to do that.
And you're still trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So it's probably a daily grind.
Yeah, because I have to get it off of me. It's not good enough for me to do them. I have to get it to where 13 photographers can do them.
See, Vince Lombardi is one of my idols. Newt Rockney, one of my idols as a coach, and Tim Doyle on the strength and conditioning side. And the reason it is, like, I'm not going to toot a horn or anything like that, but I would consider myself a good coach. And I am an awful X and O's guys. But I guarantee from technique, conditioning, strengthening, and knowing the body and how the body works and knowing a player, I would say I'm at elite level. Put me in X's and O's, I'm not your X and O coach. You can adjust to an X and O coach.
Right.
Like you see these NFL guys where they're young guys coming in that knows the system, they go off, statistics, and they go off, this is the probability of what should be happening and so on and so forth. They're good for a couple years until that guy that's not good with X's and O's can figure out how to put his team in a better position.
Yes.
You're going to bring 5 guys to this side. I'm going to bring 4, and I'm going to bring in the 5th guy on the backside where you can't block him.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's I think those are the different types of leaderships you do. You got your temporary leaders, you got the ones that are going to service you for a period of time, but you need to find that rock, that anchor. And that anchor is the one that's going to focus on your techniques and going to focus on your foot placement and going to focus on what are you doing weekly to make sure you're selling houses.
Yeah.
That's the big difference in today's world compared to where we grew up.
100%.
Today's world is all about immediate gratification. I'm going to find those realtors that are going to burn themselves out going $10 million, $15 million a year. Tell me where they are 5 years from now.
Right.
Now let's look at the ones that took that 10 million and figured out how they did that 10 million.
Right.
Did I go through my spear list already? Did I already bang that out, or am I trying to replicate that every year? The good realtors, I've always said, if you show up to work every day as a realtor, and you could be a bad realtor, but if you show up to work every day and do the golden path that is laid out in front of you, you will make 6 figures. I mean, but you know how hard it is for those people to do that golden path? I mean, because they think just because they had success for, half a year or a year, they know it more than you. And you're like, man, you forgot what the first 14 years is. Don't hire that realtor just because he's been in it 2 years. Hire the realtor that already has the foundation set, that already has the team built,
right? That
already has, if this goes bad in the market, we're good. Mm-hmm. We're okay.
Yep. That's
going to make sure you're pricing that property right.
Mm-hmm.
Kiss of death, it's overpricing the property. Yeah. I mean, go with the contractor that, their bids are fair. But they're bringing a level of expertise in it, and they have the replica. You're part of my portfolio. When I show up to that listing appointment, I'm showing our marketing.
Yeah.
Here's Pic Your House. This is who we hired. I'm not listing it without them. This is what I'm bringing to the table. This is where my listing compared to that listing person's going to be. It's because you're getting a full team. Now you're not getting you are getting 5 or 6 realtors for the price of one, but you're also getting a marketing team. You're also getting this. You're also getting this. And when I lay that out in front of someone, their eyes open. It's like, boom. Okay, here's what you wanted to sell it for. Here's what I will sell it for. And I'll get you that number because I have my team with me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, going off that, I want to put your fears out there now. Codie, This is for both of you guys. as business owners, you guys are, I've been doing it since 2012, 2013, and I was running banks previous to this. So I've always had that ownership mentality. You guys are, you're still in your tenure. You haven't hit your 10
I'm
years
green,
yet.
baby.
Yeah.
I don't hide it.
What's your biggest fear? Give me your top 3 biggest fears, both of you, of what's coming up. Fear's what drives most people, so I always want to hear from these business owners what your fears are.
To me, the biggest one for us, you're talking about AI, right? Like as technology evolves, like I've said this multiple times where I'm like, when is there going to be a day when there's an app on your phone that tells you where to line the photo up, how to do the 360, and then there's an app that processes it all and it's good enough and that type of thing. And it's a fear, but it's also it's also not like, because like I've said this to realtors before, ones that I'm close to, and they're like, yeah, as that progresses towards that, there'll be some people who don't use you anymore and do it on their own. But the high performing ones, because whenever you hire someone to do something, it's either one of two things. It's either A, because they have an expertise that you don't. Like if I hired you to come remodel my bathroom, I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Right.
You do, right? Or it's just a delegation, right? Like we have someone clean our house, not because we don't know how, but because if we delegate that to somebody else, take some money, spend it, give it to her, that frees up our time to do things that are more important, right? Yep. So my point is getting back to that, right now there's tons of people that hire us from an expertise standpoint. Mm-hmm. But if we're the best at what we do, the best people who do what you do will still hire us simply from a delegation standpoint, simply from I know there's that app on my phone now, and I know I probably could do it on my own. But if I'm doing that, then I'm not spending time in listing appointments, which is much more profitable
time
for
is
me.
money.
Yeah. And so why spend a task that I pay Pic Your House $200 for when I can be going and doing a listing presentation where we're going to make $5,000 in commission from,
Yep.
So that's a fear, but at the same time, it's not, I don't know. But which one you got, Cody?
I mean, mine's kind of a strange one. Everyone who has heard this before or knows you and I personally knows that my goal is not to be doing what I'm doing in the construction world long term. Mm-hmm. I want to dedicate my time to my nonprofit because that involves our sports aspect. It also involves giving back to the community, which involves, first responders and military members. And it also involves construction, building a home once a year or doing some type of renovation for somebody in need that needs it. So it's a 3-pronged trip. It's called Iowa Triple Threat Foundation. It started from my coaching that I merged with him. And now because I merged with him, I'm able to allow the basketball portion to go through his stuff and I could take mine away and just do the nonprofit stuff. So my goal, is within 3 years it's a hard goal, but my goal within 3 years is to replace myself and entrust somebody to lead my construction enterprise without me holding their hand. I'll be there. I'll work with them every day and guide them, but I want to dedicate my time to our nonprofit and grow not only a basketball organization with Lucas, but something that, do you know what the Zach Johnson Foundation is?
Just know that it exists. I don't necessarily know.
Famous golfer.
Right.
He literally just allows kids that don't have money in their family to go play sports. 3 of our athletes last year were sponsored by the Zach Johnson Foundation.
Wonderful.
So they cut diplomats a check, and that allowed them to participate in our stuff. So my goal is to have something like that's well known. We can do events. I love social gatherings. It's one of my biggest motivators is to host or be a part of, a banquet or a golf outing or something and just run it and watch the joy in people's faces as they come out and celebrate something bigger and create something bigger. That is one of my biggest motivators. So one of my biggest fears is I'm not going to find that person who can do that on the construction side of things. Because I have some great guys, don't get me wrong, but we all have our faults. And in construction specifically, it's very, very hard to find business mindset people. You usually find people that know how to turn a wrench or swing a hammer. Right. And that's what I have right now. None of the guys I have, and I'm not talking crap behind their back. They know this. We've had these conversations because they know my goals. They couldn't run a business. They don't know how to do their taxes. They don't know how to do this, and this, which it takes to run a business. Yeah. But they can do things with tools that I can't do. And it goes both ways. So I'd say my biggest fear is not being able to replace myself and finding the right personnel to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Very good. Yeah. I mean, fear is a driver in a lot of fashions. Fear is also something that you want to team up with.
Yes.
Because fear can also drive you crazy. It's
and
a
not
driver.
Sleep.
Yep. It can drive you in so many different directions. And I would say my biggest fear, I'm with Logan where there's not enough time in the day. I live on that philosophy, but my biggest fear is missing out on my kids' stuff. And so time management's my biggest fear is how do I weigh out? Because we have Chloe who's a stud. You got Junior who's a great athlete in himself. You got Mari who could go two different directions because he's that age right now.
100%.
So you have to live and guide it. You got a 3-year-old and Talea who if
She's
we
so stinking cute.
yeah, but if we don't guide her in the right direction, she's going to burn the house down because she already knows what the fire looks like.
That's fair. And that's where leadership's important for you, though.
Yep, absolutely.
If I had, me, we did this together last year.
Yep.
I made a choice this year, and especially Elisa's surgery helped force that, right?
Right.
But this year, you've seen how much more time I'm forcing myself to take for Lena.
Yep.
And that. And for you, I strongly suggest this, and you've been doing business so long, it's kind of your stubborn toe is you won't. You'll still make sure that the job gets done, and that means you have to go do it. Look how many hours you've spent in an unnamed city and
Lisbon,
an unnamed
Iowa.
town in
Yes.
Iowa.
Yes.
Because you're going to make sure it gets done, right?
Correct. Yep.
But that's, at some point, you're just going to have to make the choice, like what you were talking about, I'm going to hire this out so that I can have that time.
Yeah. And it's, I would, so time management's my fear. That's my biggest fear is trying to find time. And that I'm going
Are
to.
you trying to find time though?
Yes, absolutely. Hey, you add to it. You add to.
I would take it a step. I kind of agree with you, though. I would take it a step further. I don't think it's time management for you. I think it's the fear of letting go of doing some of the things and entrusting other people.
The topic
to do
is
them.
time management, but that's not the fear.
Right.
That's
I think
what
your
I was gonna
fear is
throw in,
letting
too.
go.
All right. Here, roast it.
Well,
Go ahead, guys.
This is actually an intervention here on Whiskey and Real Estate.
Listen, if you want to hear from the side piece, all right, he knows you.
Yep.
It's that's exactly what it is, because you called me out on the time thing because I said that when you guys were coming in. Yep. But the issue isn't necessarily time. The issue is because I can't make more time.
Priority management.
Well, and it's priority management, but also it's just diversifying, right? So I guess it's priority management in that I need to decide what I personally need to prioritize, and then how do I give other things to other people and diversify.
Because it still has to get done.
I can't make more time for myself. I can take other people's time and apply it, right? So that's really what it's going to end up being for you. You can't add more hours to the day. It's just never going to happen. They tell me.
And you guys
Ever.
both had mentioned a blueprint before, like kind of like an unknown thing. And I felt the same way. A year and a half ago, I read a book called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell.
We talked about that.
I've
on
heard
2
about that
episodes.
one, but
Yep.
I haven't read it
Man,
yet.
Yeah.
I pushed it off for 6 months because it looked real gimmicky, and I'm like, it's going to talk about stuff I've already read about, blah, blah, blah. But in that, he gives a blueprint. He calls it a replacement ladder. And it's literally, so the thing I like, it wasn't just like, here's a bunch of things you need to delegate eventually as you grow. It was like, no, this is the first thing you should delegate. And it basically, the order went admin, operations, marketing, sales, and leadership. And his whole concept to buy back your time. Because I was
following that without reading the book. That's literally the path I'm
nice.
following right now. I'm not joking.
That's good.
Crazy.
Yeah, and his biggest thing, because one of the other, so that was a big, there were only 2 things that jumped out to me in the book. That one was one. The other thing was, he said, you don't delegate to, what did it say? You don't delegate to grow, you delegate to buy back your time. And I had to step back because I'm like, every time I've thought about hiring, I've always thought ROI, right? Because I want to hire you because you're good at this, but then because you're good at this, we'll make double what we're paying
Right.
you from it. And it's a good mindset to have. But his argument is, you're always going to be in your business, you're always going to be the best at most effective at the stuff.
Correct.
So what you do is you offload stuff. So first you offload the admin stuff, then you offload the operations stuff, and then eventually marketing, eventually sales. And you do that so that you can buy back all your time to do what? To spend all that time on the things that are the most productive. And when I read it, I was guilty because I had Jenna, my admin person, I had Randy, my operations person, but I was still dabbling in certain percentages of that stuff. And I called them and explained this whole concept to them. And they were pretty much like, yeah, we're kind of wondering when you'd get out of our, we know our role.
I get that all the time from my staff. But the thing of it is okay, here's the devil advocate to it. If you don't have someone that has that ownership of that area or wants to burn the bridge down of the other areas, you have to be there.
Yep.
And so my goal is exactly that, is to buy back my time, to make sure operations runs maintenance, leasing runs leasing, real broker runs real estate. I just don't know
How to let go.
No, not how to let go, how to let the fire burn. Because it could burn the whole thing down.
It's such a person thing too. You were all talking about this before, and talking with Randy specifically, who I know and who I think is incredible. But I have two people, 3 if I count my wife, right? But 2 people that I'm not married to that I know that I can pretty much trust with anything. And I've known them for years. I've worked on different projects. Like it's
Well, you're one of them.
we're getting there. We're getting there. You want to start producing a podcast? Behind the desk. But I mean, I was on a road trip to Ohio, and I had set it up where one of these guys was going to run this day of recording for me. And I was, not only had we taken the steps to kind of put things in place, and not only did I trust this guy so much, like I just straight up forgot they were doing it. He called me while I was driving, and he was like, "Oh, hey, we got to fix." I was like, "I totally forgot that you were even running this project today because I was so fine with it just happening." But that's so rare. I've worked with, 3 times as many people where that has not been the case, and where there have been problems, and where I just straight up couldn't trust them to do things, and it made things worse. And so it's really, really, really tough, especially when you're a small business. Correct. You don't have all of those systems in place, and you don't have that institutional legacy of supporting the work.
Right.
It's really tough.
Well, and you got to make sure that all in a small business world, all forms are clicking. Because if you don't have all forms clicking, one will piss off the other one. And when one pisses off the other one, the other 2 don't even want to be around that. So you're jeopardizing all 4.
Right.
If you got one that is stirring the pot on everything else. And it don't matter, and that one might be a completely different person the 2 days later. And that's where we have to intervene. That's as a business owners, we got to make sure that there's not a fire going.
Yeah.
And I'm a very matter of fact type guy when it comes to, you tell me you're going to do this, then I'm expecting you to do that. And I'm also let down very hard when it's not done, then I feel I need to be intervened again. Okay, now my trust is gone because I got PTSD over 15 years and know how many employees you go through in the property management field, where like I've seen this happen before. So I that's another one of my fear. PTSD, is that a fear?
I mean, it's
I mean, what
It sucks. I'll tell you that.
It causes fear.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea.
So getting into it.
Mine's spiders, by the way.
Yeah, well, there you go. Spiders.
Talking fears.
No. What was your traumatic?
No, my fear is
Event.
Spiders.
Oh, that's not.
So as a business owner, what is one of your biggest fears?
Spiders, man, they're everywhere.
Oh, all right. Hey,
They're taking
he's
over
gonna
the
burn the
podcast.
business down, killing all the spiders.
You got dehumidifiers in this podcast studio so that there
dude,
never
we
is spiders?
I've never seen a spider in here.
Because they like moisture.
Well, it does take away moisture, I guess. Yeah.
I get crazy spiders in my basement.
Hey, let me tell you about the spider story from Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Oh my
sometime.
God, that's an awful story.
Let's save it. We got to wrap up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, not on the podcast. I'm saying just you and me.
Oh my
All right,
God.
yeah.
You wait till you hear this story. It is insane.
I don't know about that then.
Yeah. It's
It's 100% no BS too. It's
yeah,
crazy.
all about brown recluses.
I got bit by one. That's probably one of the fears.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fear? I love to hear this.
Yeah.
I don't have one.
Oh, you're so full of shit.
That's the fear in itself. Your fear is unknown.
I guess.
That's all of our fears.
Are you afraid of being afraid?
No.
Are you afraid to show your emotions?
No, I think they just.
She's
its
good
own
at
thing.
that. Yeah, you
That
know
comes
what she
out
thinks. You know
natural.
what she feels.
It does its own thing.
Yeah, but it's one side of emotion that you let go. The emotional side is like, okay, the empathy side of emotions. Emotions are many different ways. Some could
I
say,
think her biggest fear is letting somebody else do it and not. I think you guys have very similar fears.
we do.
I don't
Yep.
think she likes to let stuff go because she will. I mean, just look at. I mean, full
Oh,
disclosure.
she
look
will.
at when he hired me, right?
She'll let it go.
I literally
let it
took
go.
over your role, and in the first 3 months, you kept trying to like, well, you should do it this way. You should do it this way. You should do it this way.
Because you weren't doing it the right way.
If it ain't her way, there is no way.
I think the word fear is
You know, how
interesting.
she-
Yeah.
I
'Cause-
don't have any though. Like I'm not afraid to let things go. I'm not afraid of my emotions. I don't like.
You hate emotions.
Bro, this just
whatever.
got
I
so
don't
funny.
like being emotional,
My
but I'm
brain's
not
going sideways.
afraid of it.
Yeah.
So
Well, like
Go ahead.
you bring up the like time thing. Like I don't know if I would classify it as a fear. I don't know if fear is the right word. It's a pain point for sure. I'm not afraid of
That's
it.
fair.
You know,
Yeah, that's fair.
my biggest thing is the same as every small business. It's time and money. Right.
Right.
If I had more money, I could bring more people. I could gain more time. You know, it's all that stuff. Right. Should work your way to that point. Whatever. But I'm not afraid of it. I'm afraid of spiders.
he's afraid of it.
I think all of our fear, honestly, and it's in all of our top threes, is failure.
Sure.
I mean that is a
Yeah.
true fear that all of us probably have in our top three.
I hate letting people down. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of my bigger fears too, is letting someone down.
I think failure and letting people down is different.
It is. Absolutely.
I don't know if I'm afraid to fail, but I am afraid to let people down.
Yeah. I'm not I will agree with that because I've
Well,
failed
it
so
depends
many.
what your definition of failure is.
For sure.
I have failed so many damn times.
My definition of failure is letting people down. All my employees, if I fail, that means we are not getting business. They're no longer able to work, and I pay my guys very well. I mean, compared to a typical construction worker or handyman, that's why I do what I do. Is I pay them better than most.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come lay some floors.
You gonna lay some floor?
I'm gonna lay some pipe.
Oh man,
And on that note,
we did some flooring stuff this week. You would have killed me. Oh man,
why?
Because I just was so.
What was it,
so-
LVP?
No, don't talk about it.
No, let's talk about it.
I'll show you later.
It's going three different directions.
No. We just ended up loose laying it. It was awful.
Can I bring up one last thing to kind of bring this to a close? I mean, I don't know if you have like
Absolutely.
a official way to close it, but
No,
just,
we do not.
I'm excited to talk MJ with you guys more, just
Yes.
in general. But we talked about leadership. We talked about example. Do you guys remember in 2020 when The Last Dance came out and it breathed life into America because everyone was at home watching it, and all of us who lived it were like, oh yes, I remember this. And then the people who don't understand why we're so obsessed with MJ were like, okay, I kind of finally get it. I mean, I
Right.
had multiple people that are like, I used to say LeBron, but there's no question now after watching this stories. But do you remember episode 7? It was at the end. I've watched this 7-minute clip so many times. At the end of episode 7 is when he goes, do you think all this success has come at the cost of you being a nice guy? And he's like, and he like sits back and he's like, winning has a price and leadership has a price. And he goes, he goes through the hell that he went through when he came to the Bulls and there was, a cocaine traveling circus and all this stuff.
Right.
And he's like,
Hell yeah, brother.
my teammates came along the way. They didn't have to endure what I had to endure. So I expect you to live up to a certain standard. And then he gets emotional and he goes, if you talk to my teammates, the one thing that Michael Jordan never asked me to do something he didn't bleep and do.
Yeah.
And eventually at the end of this rant, he gets emotional. He's like, if you don't want to play that way, don't play that way. And he goes, break, and he walks off because winning and being an example was so emotionally tied to like how he was wired. But again, the thing he wanted to emphasize was like, yeah, some people called me an a-hole. Some people, think I was a tyrant or whatever. But yeah, and I remember part of that rant, he goes, oh yeah, he may have been a tyrant, Well, that's you because you never won anything before. Like, you don't know that there's a certain level of focus and determination that it takes to win that sometimes comes off as being arrogant or whatever, but someone has to have that to start. You hopefully run around the edges a little bit. But anyway, I just thought that was like, it fit what we were talking about earlier, and I've watched that clip so many times and get chills every time.
I know exactly where you're at and what clip you're watching on that. That is one of my favorite parts of it, besides when BJ Armstrong was on. So, when they brought BJ on and BJ got to talk, and when they talked to when BJ went over to Charlotte and dropped 40 on it, 40 like 2 games later or 2 games before, and BJ's like, all right, I got this stuff. Yeah. And Mike's like, you ain't going to score a motherfucking point.
And he's like, BJ, you know better than that.
Well, and again, Tim and Logan and Codie, the one thing that we always preach on this podcast is networking is always king in our world. Supporting each other, driving each other, and most importantly, picking each other up when we see each other down. We talk about our basketball lives. We talk about our teams. I want to make sure that we continue our networks together because, like I said, my network isn't without you, and it ain't without you, and it ain't without you. Our success my success, at least I can say, is based off you guys. So with that, we're going to be closing another episode of Whiskey and Real Estate. Hey, thanks, Codie, for joining us.
The fuck out, Codie.
Codie got my look.
I was like, am I supposed to say real estate? And then he said real estate. I'm like, I'm good.
Yep.